Hello and welcome to Cultural Apologists React for today, August 30th, 2024. This is an AI-generated podcast and can make mistakes. Use it for generating possible ideas, but don't rely on it as an authoritative guide to the day's news or to the details of cultural apologetics. In the news today, Kamala Harris insisted in her first major interview since becoming the Democratic presidential nominee that her values haven't changed, despite shifting positions on fracking and immigration. She also promised to govern for all Americans if elected and vowed to name a Republican to her cabinet. The interview was seen as a key test of her credibility after a prolonged honeymoon that saw her surge ahead in opinion polls. So how might we think about this story from the standpoint of cultural apologetics? The story of Kamala Harris's first major interview since becoming the Democratic presidential nominee offers a fascinating case study in the politics of authenticity. Through the lens of Flannery O Connor's work, I argue that Harris's insistence on her unchanging values reveals a profound tension between the desire for moral consistency and the necessity of political adaptability. This tension is at the heart of O'Connor's exploration of the human condition in her fiction, where characters are often forced to confront the disconnect between their professed ideals and the messy realities of their lives. In Wise Blood, O'Connor's protagonist Hazel Motes embarks on a journey of self-discovery that ultimately reveals the emptiness of his own moral posturing. Similarly, Harris's assertion that her values remain unchanged despite shifting positions on key issues like fracking and immigration can be seen as a form of moral posturing. By emphasizing her commitment to her core principles, Harris is attempting to reassure voters that she remains true to herself, even as she adapts her policy stances to suit the demands of the campaign trail. However, this strategy also risks being seen as insincere or opportunistic, particularly if her past statements and actions are perceived as contradictory. O'Connor's fiction often explores the theme of the grotesque, where characters are forced to confront the dissonance between their idealized self-image and the harsh realities of the world around them. In this sense, Harris's interview can be seen as a form of grotesque politics, where she is compelled to navigate the tension between her professed values and the pragmatic demands of electoral politics. The story notes that Harris was questioned about her delay in facing interviews, which contrasts with Trump's willingness to engage in impromptu media appearances. This contrast highlights the ways in which politicians must often choose between authenticity and calculation, between being true to themselves and presenting a carefully crafted image to the public. In Everything That Rises Must Converge, O'Connor explores the theme of moral convergence, where characters from different walks of life are forced to confront their shared humanity. Similarly, Harris's interview can be seen as an attempt to converge her own moral narrative with that of the broader American public. By emphasizing her commitment to governing for all Americans, Harris is attempting to create a sense of shared values and common purpose that transcends partisan divisions. However, this effort also risks being seen as overly broad or vague, particularly if her policy stances are perceived as lacking specificity or depth. Ultimately, the story of Kamala Harris's interview reveals a profound tension between the desire for moral consistency and the necessity of political adaptability. Through the lens of Flannery O Connor's work, we can see that this tension is at the heart of the human condition, where individuals are often forced to navigate the disconnect between their idealized self-image and the harsh realities of the world around them. As Harris continues on the campaign trail, she will be compelled to confront this tension head-on, navigating the complexities of her own moral narrative in a way that is both authentic and effective. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Cultural Apologists React. Be sure to come back tomorrow for a new take on the day's news from the standpoint of Christian cultural apologetics.